Hello everybody, this is MIT Airlines Flight Simulation Training on Demand. So today we're going to cover a very hot topic, and that is the future of Microsoft Flight Simulator X. Now, the Microsoft Flight Simulator legacy was started in November of 1982 and has progressed up to the Flight Simulator X in which we know and love today. Flight Simulator X was released in October of 2006, the 10th of October. However, shortly afterwards, in 2009, the ACES studio in Microsoft was closed due to budget cuts. And that pretty much ended the Flight Simulator legacy that had been going on for the past 30 years. Pretty sad. So, the public rebelled, and as a response to the rebellion saying that we want a flight simulator, Microsoft came out with Microsoft Flight on February 29th in 2012. Here we have it here. Microsoft Flight was supposed to be the next Flight Simulator X. However, it really sucked. It didn't fully replace Flight Simulator X. It was free. It wasn't a simulator, it was more of a video game. It just didn't fill the gap Microsoft Flight Simulator X had left for us in the future. So, it was not a legitimate replacement of Flight Simulator X. However, if you're just the average hobbyist out there, don't want to get really in-depth in flight, just want to go and fly a plane around, not real in-depth, this is the thing for you. So, what then is the future? There are two huge competitors out there, and that is X-Plane and Prepared, or Prepare 3D. X-Plane is created by Laminar Research, and Prepare 3D is from Lockheed Martin. Let's go over Prepared 3D, or Prepared. So, Prepare 3D was based on the FSX ESP. FSX ESP was pretty much a extension of Flight Simulator X. It is an SDK system that allows you to modify and build off. It's the free source code based on FSX. So it allowed the developers to take the FSX source coding and build up upon it. So really, it's not designed for the general consumer. Really, what Lockheed Martin is aiming for is the professionals, use for real general aviation trainers in actual flight schools out there, training people how to fly an actual plane, not just for flight simulation. Another problem with Prepared is that there are very few developers working on it. Most developers are in for FSX. However, there are a few, and they're planning on jumping to Prepare 3D, or Prepared, to further the flight simulation legacy, such as Orbex. So, lots of people are working on it. There you go. Pronounce it Prepared. It's based on Microsoft ESP, all that. And one of the pluses of these two flight simulators, Prepared and X-Plane, is the fact that it's 64-bit. FSX is a 32-bit application, meaning that it is designed for a 32-bit operating system, meaning that it can only address up to 4 gigabytes of RAM. So if you have 6 gigabytes, if you have 64 gigabytes, it will ignore the entire 60 and just focus on that one 4. It cannot use more than 4. People have tried to take that away. It's not something you can take away. It's a limit. It's a physical limitation. You just can't work around it. So this is better because these two softwares are utilizing the your system better. You can see FSX there. It's chugging along at 5 or 6 frames, and you look. It seems like it's making your computer sweat a lot. It's just really chugging along. It's not. Your computer's not even breaking a sweat. It's not doing a thing because it can only utilize so much of your system's capabilities. Next on here is X-Plane. X-Plane 10 from Laminar Research. And this is the next flight simulator I have the most confidence in. X-Plane is huge. It has a desktop version, a mobile version, and a professional version to suit all sorts of people, flight sim veterans, real-world pilots, etc. You can see it's used in NASA, it's used in all these things. Really, really impressive credentials for X-Plane 10 here. One of the greatest things about X-Plane 10, I feel like, is what it says up here. Ultra realistic flight simulation. Now, what makes it ultra realistic? So, what FSX does to simulate the flight physics is that it has lots and lots of tables filled with numbers and like millions and billions of points of data that basically tell the aircraft how it is to act in a certain condition, whether certain forces are drag, lift, thrust, etc. Wait, almost missed it. All these different forces are broken down into these tables based on wind conditions, temperature, speed, etc. And basically all FSX does is that it goes through this, reading off these tables. Okay, so there's this condition, the aircraft needs to do blank. That's what that does. However, X-Plane 10 has a completely new approach to the flight physics. It has this blade simulation, or blade technology simulation. And basically all that does is that it takes a single object and it goes and calculates how it will be affected in a stream of air. So it's like a wind tunnel thing. And in fact, X-Plane 10, because of this blade dynamics, it actually comes with a plane maker, meaning you can go take and you can put a block out there and see how it flies. And that, because of this, it ends up with a way more realistic feel to it. It makes it feel way more realistic in the flight physics. However, there are certain limitations to the blade technology. It will not work very well with a non-aerodynamic structure, such as the space shuttle. Space shuttle has to blow up a ton of stuff just to get it off the ground. Blows up all that fuel just to get it off the ground. It's not very aerodynamic. Blade technology won't simulate something like that very well. Another thing with X-Plane 10 is that it's completely independent of FSX. Unlike Prepared, based off the Microsoft ESP, FSX ESP, this is completely independent. It shares absolutely no source coding with FSX. It's completely independent. This is supposed to be a general aviation aircraft simulator, meaning that it's not designed to be very systems heavy, more flight physics heavy, and it accomplishes that very well. However, those of you that go out flying the Boeings and Airbus, such as myself, will not find it very entertaining because the systems are quite lacking. However, there are a lot of developers out there in the future looking to change that. So, another problem with X-Plane is that it says that it models in its database 36,000 over airports, whereas FSX models much less. So in FSX, you might live next to a farmer with a small airstrip, and you go to FSX and it doesn't exist, because it's not significant enough to be in their databases. However, if you go to X-Plane, the thing is likely to exist, because they have so many more airports. However, the problem with this is that not all of these airports have scenery. You can land at some obscure airport and look around and, oh, there's no terminal buildings, it's just a strip of concrete in the middle of nowhere. So that's something with X-Plane 10. However, there is another side to this. So the scenery might suck at some airports, however, it has what's called probable scenery rendering. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I don't know. It makes sense, the name, because what it does is, if you're flying over what X-Plane determines as city, it's going to populate the ground below you with stuff that would be in a city. Buildings, highways, cars, etc. If you're flying over the country, it's going to populate what it says country is. Lots of fields and everything. It's not photorealistic. So if you go over your house, and you look down, and your house isn't there, well, that's because it doesn't actually do house for house, street for street, everything. It's just what could be there, and that does put in a lot of realism if you're not looking for really VFR photoreal scenery. It also has 3D signs, 3D streetlights. The ground mesh is very, very realistic. You should see it in this video here. It's pretty great. You can see houses everywhere, nice environmentals. You can see the trucks, everything. It's three-dimensional. It's absolutely fantastic. And it comes with a free demo version with only the Seattle-Tacoma area. So, it is also has not a lot of developers, but, you know, lots of developers are saying that they're going to go out, they're going to change that. It's also 64-bit, as I said before. So, to sum up everything, FSX is a dying breed. In fact, Microsoft said that they're going to shut down some servers in which you cannot activate FSX anymore. If you want to go do a clean reinstall of FSX, you can't because they're shutting down the servers. You can't activate it. So FSX is a dying breed because of the shutting down of the Asus Studio. So the future here is Prepare 3D or X-Plane. They both rock in their individual ways. They both suck in their individual ways. But they are looking to go out and change the flight simulation world. I firmly believe that X-Plane, this is just my opinion, X-Plane is going to be the one to win it. Because it's completely independent of FSX. It has the new technology, the Blade technology, allowing for a more realistic flight feel. Lots of developers are committed to making really, really high systems aircraft. There's a really good 757 out there for payware, and that's really great. Lots of systems, so they're out there looking to change that. So Prepare 3D or X-Plane. So what do you think the future of flight simulation is? You decide. Thank you for watching. This is MIT Airlines Flight Simulation Training on Demand.